Pantheon is the new for 2021. Okay, 2022 Intamin multi-launch coaster at Busch Gardens Williamsburg in Williamsburg, Virginia. Many coaster enthusiasts have praised this new ride, acclaiming it as one of their best roller coasters in the world, some going even further to say it's their number one. Others disagree and say it is an enjoyable ride, but is overhyped by the coaster community simply because it's new. Today I am going to analyze Pantheon's layout and ride experience, as well as other factors such as theming and appearance. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's begin with first impressions as you approach the ride. Being that the backward spike of Pantheon is 178 feet tall, and the top hat is about 160 feet tall, it's easy to spot the coaster upon driving into the park. As you walk through the park towards the ride, you occasionally get a glimpse of the train running up the backward spike, or cresting the top hat, which is pretty cool. Eventually you walk up some stairs and into the main plaza. Here you can see a large portion of the ride's layout. The theming compared to the original renders is underwhelming. There's a nice sign and some Romanesque architecture strung about, but the queue line is just a walkway with a bland fence surrounding it on both sides, with an occasional poster talking about the various Roman gods the ride is themed to. However, I can understand that SeaWorld Entertainment and Busch Gardens Williamsburg wouldn't want to spend any extra cash on theming or anything away from the core ride, due to the financial troubles with the pandemic and inflation, along with the fact that SeaWorld has opened up so many new coasters at its parks over the last few years, especially this year. While I understand their reasoning behind going for the bare minimum, I hope they add more theming elements both in the plaza and queue, as well as during the ride in the near future. It would make an already beautiful coaster look even better and feel more in line with the rest of the park as well. Now let's get on to the more important part of this review, the ride experience itself. Pantheon is an awesome ride from start to finish, so let's dive into it, or launch into it. Laugh. Also, shout out to Drew from the Coaster Scoop for letting me use his Pantheon POV here. First, you'll enter one of 10 rows on a comfortable and great looking train with an over-the-shoulder lap bar, according to BlueLoop.com, the design of which allows you to feel minimally restricted inside your seat, great for Pantheon's upcoming hang time and airtime. Props to Intamin on this train design. After dispatch, you'll take a left turn and engage with the first launch straight into a zero-G roll. This is a really fun element, and a great way to set the pace for the rest of the ride. From there you hit a couple of meandering outward bank sections of track, which reminded me of the pre-lift sections on the RMC's Twisted Cyclone at Six Flags Over Georgia and Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain, the first one I have ridden. Then comes the second launch. This one doesn't really do anything except build momentum to get you partway up the top hat before rolling backwards into the third launch. Here, the definite best and most intense parts of the ride sneak up on you, the backwards airtime hills. Even if you know about them like I did, they still take you by surprise with how intense they are. As you may know, each launch on Pantheon really feels split up into two launches, like they both provide a boost. The first boost launches you into the first airtime hill, where you will be pleasantly surprised to find a decent bit of ejector airtime while going backwards. But the biggest shock comes on the second hill, where you again boost over the hill, this time with more speed and aggression. This element sent me flying out of my seat, as you can see in the GoPro footage, because my camera goes a little wonky. The amount of ejector airtime you receive, along with the oddity of traveling backwards, makes this element a true sensation to behold. For me, and I know for many others, this is definitely the best element on the ride. After the insane hills, the train, with you laughing hysterically inside, finishes its backwards course by traveling up the backwards spike, the tallest element on the ride, though you don't fully reach the top, especially if you're in the front rows of the train. From here, the train returns to forward progress, hitting the fourth and final launch over the airtime hills once again, providing you with some more ejector airtime. At the end of the launch comes the top hat, where all 73 miles an hour of your second fastest multi-launch coaster on Earth speeds diminish. Shout out to that one Intamin multi-launch coaster in China that is actually faster. As you crest the top, the train slows dramatically, giving you time to take in the view of the surrounding trees, riverside, sunset, and impending thunderstorm. The moment is short-lived, however, as you plunge down the 180-foot, 95-degree beyond vertical drop into the river valley below. This is a very fun drop with good airtime, a lot like a double-sized version of the drop on Maverick at Cedar Point, another Intamin multi-launch coaster. However, due to the relatively slow speeds with which the train crests the top hat, you aren't flung out of your seat quite as much as you are on Maverick's first drop. Regardless, after the first drop, you make your way through a gradual turn into a very high outer banked airtime hill. To be honest, this element was just okay. Maybe it's because I've been spoiled by the awesome outer banked airtime hills and wave turns of RMCs, but this one just didn't give a lot of airtime. It was fun, not bad, and I definitely felt myself slide in my seat, but I think it gets overshadowed by elements earlier on in the layout. However, for media folks, you know this element is awesome to photograph and video. From the Outer Banks Hill, you transition into the Zero-G stall, which is another standout element on this ride in my opinion. It feels different from some other stalls because you actually move through it quite quickly and snap out of it fast into a head chopper with one of the track supports. I didn't get much hang time from the Zero-G stall due to the speed at which you travel through it, but I found the sensation of being flipped upside down and pulled through the air to be a pretty cool experience as well. After this, you transition into a wave turn, sliding you in your seat one last time before hitting the final brakes. Overall, Pantheon's layout is well executed, with each element standing out from the next, with transitions in between each of them. Although graceful may not come to mind when thinking of Intamin multi-launch coasters, this one is. That can be seen by just watching the train smoothly roll in and out of the elements. The only elements that totally blew me away were the backwards airtime hills, but beyond that, every part of Pantheon is simply solid and enjoyable. This coaster doesn't throw everything at you at once, but instead takes you on a journey through the ride, one element at a time. This is very enjoyable, and is what makes the ride such a solid coaster that almost everyone will enjoy. However, in my opinion, it lacks the wow factor that some of the most elite coasters possess. This coaster is by no means my number one, but I am not disappointed by that either. Pantheon is meant to be a standout coaster at Busch Gardens Williamsburg that continues the park's journey becoming one of the best theme parks in the country. It's also meant to draw enthusiasts and non-enthusiasts alike from around the country or even around the world back to the park to show them just how good Busch Gardens Williamsburg is becoming. And Pantheon does exactly that. Therefore, I thoroughly recommend this ride to any enthusiast who hasn't ridden it yet. It's worth coming back to the park for. So that is all from this in-depth Pantheon review. If you enjoyed this style, press that like button to let myself and YouTube alike know that you appreciate this content. Also, if you enjoy other types of coaster videos as well as motorsport and travel content, be sure to consider subscribing if you'd like. Other than that, that's all from me. Thanks for watching, stay positive, and live on. Now go enjoy Pantheon. Peace.